Hello everybody, this is Stratus Gaming here, and welcome to another live stream. Another interesting live stream, I guess. I just got done fighting with some salty kid on the Xbox because he's salty that... what happened was I was playing War Thunder for 3 hours, no one would join my server at all, so as soon as I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go live stream AoE 2 and watch that replay with you guys that I did last night. And someone's like, why'd you end the post? And I said, I just got off War Thunder after waiting for people to not join for 3 hours. And he was like, dude, I just got on the game and I was about to play with you. I'm like, now you're gonna have to wait until later because I want to live stream something else. And he's like, and then afterwards he gets salty with me and says that if I don't get back on War Thunder, he'll hack my account and he'll get me banned. I'm like, dude. So I literally said, you first of all, you can't hack me. That's illegal. Second of all, you're throwing a hissy fit because I went off the game. And then I said, grow up, idiot. So then afterwards, I saw him go off War Thunder and on to Overwatch 2, and then he got 3 of his friends to message me. I'm like, dude, you're so salty, so you're gonna have to invite your friends. That's hilarious. So I told them the exact same thing, and I told them they're all morons or idiots for believing in that guy and just siding with him. So then, of course, they all blocked me, which is hilarious. I reported him, and I got him a comms ban for that. So, yeah, if he was nice and he could have waited for like 3 or 4 hours, and I would have went back on War Thunder and I would have played with him. But he was one of those people. He said like, "Can we use like 5.0 battle rating?" I'm like, yeah, because I know what's going to happen. He's going to say that, and he's going to pull out a jet that's like 8.0 to 14.0 BR. And then he's going to be a bully goat. So, yeah. I already know that's going to happen, but... Anyways, on to AoE 2. So we're gonna watch the replay where me and Zach single-handedly killed 5 AI on Feudal Age. We were starting in Dark Age, and then we got to Feudal Age, and this thing, holy moly, it was hard. I did this with my dad a couple of times back in the day, where where it was just hell. But yeah, as you can see, what happens on this map, this is an inner circle, which you are basically starting near every enemy. As you can see, you are starting near literally everybody. See, everybody is around each other, which is hilarious. So it tends to get pretty rowdy and crowded up in this area. But yeah, I figured out the strategy on how to beat this map. You gotta, like, turtle. You gotta basically make towers constantly, and then once we took care of this guy, and then once I took care of this one, light blue and orange, I was pretty much good. But then gray started attacking, so I immediately had to start worrying about them. But once gray, orange, and cyan stopped, that's when I was pretty much good. I was good at this point. Zach was over here. He was starting down here between green and yellow. What sucks about this, we were starting pretty much next to a bunch of enemies. Literally all of us were starting near an enemy. If I had turned on team positions, we would have started pretty much next to each other. And the person in the middle would basically be the one sending, like, all the resources and all that. So as you can see, just... At the Dark Age, it was just normal. It was simple. But then later on, this is when it got really bad. Like, once we started getting later, that's when the game got even harder and harder. Also, Connor does say that he's really good at this game. No. Like, seriously, Zach plays on the Xbox, by the way, and he knows how to play. Like, he's played on the Xbox a little bit. Yeah, he's really good, though. Whereas Connor was very, very slow, and he died before he even got to the Feudal Age. Mainly because his heart wasn't really in this. This map, though, the middle is kind of bad. Like, for me, I had to do wood over here, and then I got attacked, so I ended up sending all my villagers up here to get wood. And I ended up, what you're supposed to do is use the wood to, like, make a market and all that. See, at the beginning, the villagers won't really attack unless you start building something. Which is exactly what they were doing to Zach. And then they started doing it to me afterwards, where I was all the way over here, and I basically had to wall off my entire area so enemies couldn't get inside. And as you can see, as soon as you start building something, the villagers are like, nope, we're going to attack everything that you have. And then Zack, as you can see, was getting attacked by Green. Green kept attacking them, and then Zack was, for some reason, putting a house here, trying to troll them or something. Yeah, literally, all you had... And he was playing as Khmer, so you can hide villagers in houses, which is good. But yeah, over here I was building, like, so much stuff. I was playing as Byzantines because, well, one of my bonuses as the Byzantines was skirmishers were cheaper. Same with spearmen. Khmer, as you can see, there's the bonuses that Zack had. Basically, no buildings required to advance to the next stage or to unlock other buildings. Farms don't require mills, or farmers don't require them. Villagers can garrison houses. Basically, all of his bonuses work except for battle elephants and the ballistic elephant, and also the innate tax. And also the team bonus. His team bonus doesn't really work. My team bonus was the monks heal faster, meaning that, well, unfortunately, doesn't really work too well. And as you can see, Zack was under attack by Green constantly. Later on, it just gets to the point where we're being absolutely railed. And the bad thing about Connor, well, he wasn't playing super aggressive. I was playing really aggressive. Or as you can see, I was playing very aggressively because I needed to get rid of at least one group so we can breathe. And that's what I did. Zack was also playing aggressively as well. Connor, that was his downfall. His heart wasn't really in it, as you can see. And then he pretty much gave up around like the 5 to 6 minute mark of this. Yeah, so as soon as a tower built, he doesn't know what to do exactly. The best thing to do is if a tower gets built immediately, if he ended up building a couple of, if he got to the Feudal Age pretty quick, then he would have actually been able to survive, but unfortunately he didn't. However, once Gray, I think, pretty much got that archer range built, that's when everything was bad. And this is when, see, literally, one singular guy ended up killing Connor, which is hilarious. Basically, he could have, and then he, instead of making villagers, which, as you can see, he did run out of food, so that's why he died, but even still. And then he started destroying everything. He did have a chance, by the way. Because I remember the one time I ended up playing this game, and I lost all my villagers, and I ended up rebuilding a town center. And I still won the game afterwards. Because there's an achievement where you have to, like, destroy your town center, but that was not from destroying a town center. Instead, my town center got destroyed in the Castle Age, and I rebuilt one. Yeah, and for some reason, Orange thought it was a good idea to build in my own town, which I don't know why. And then at this point, Connor got bored that he decided to just leave. So at this point, we pretty much had no hope at all. But as you can see, this is what I was doing. I was pretty much making like a town building shit ton of watchtowers. At this point, you have to use the bell. If you don't use the bell, you're basically screwed. And at this point, I thought Zack was gonna get killed because I saw his town. He was about to get destroyed, but no, he was good actually. But yeah, I was definitely on the road to winning, and then eventually, after Orange got destroyed, that's when Orange got wiped out, that's when I was pretty much good at this point. As you can see, then Zack's down here getting attacked. This is what you pretty much have to do. You have to send your villagers into the town bell, as well as in the watchtowers, and just use the arrow fire to kill off most of the guys, since the town center has ballistics, you know, that tech that, you know, that does that. But as you can see, then afterwards I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna have to wall up everything, because if I don't wall up anything, then they're just gonna keep getting attacked. And then Zack did the exact same thing later on. As you can see, Zack was basically getting attacked constantly. And then, see, the most challenging part was this area, because at this point they were just swarming us. However, Orange, I figured out why Orange ended up giving up, because at this point, Gray was attacking everything. At this point, Gray was attacking everything they had, so pretty much they ended up resigning afterwards. Which was the Berbers, Orange Berbers, by the way. The Orange was probably like, yeah, we're not going to do that. And then light blue, as you can see, light blue and yellow started just expanding everywhere. And they started expanding, as you can see. And then at this point, I had everything walled off. Well, I thought I did, but nope. It turns out there was actually an opening in the town. It was down here to the south. And then right here is where I had pretty much everything. And then orange gives up, as you can see, because of gray. Basically killing off all their villagers. So that's when that group was down. But then I noticed this time gray was just starting to attack. Gray, which was the Lithuanians, was the last enemy we had to kill, by the way. More spoiling stuff. At this point, Zach was still under attack, as you can see. And then at this point, if I remember correctly, he started building walls. However, when I figured out he was under attack, I ended up sending... what is it? I sent like a bunch of villagers over to... Yeah, see, I built a gate right here, and then this is when I sent most of my villagers to his place to start building a wall. And as soon as I did that, as you can see, yellow started attacking, but I kept persisting and making sure that we can build this wall, because, there we go, it would work. Yeah, as soon as we got this wall done, we were pretty much set. But yeah, it was very, very annoying to keep an eye on for two bases, by the way, because trying to keep an eye on this area, like my base, and then Zach's base, was tedious. Yeah, I decided to build a whole bunch of walls over here. I did lose a couple of villagers, but then, yeah, I built a tower there, which was working. Figured out they actually got through this area, so I walled that off. Then I started walling off Green's area, which was good. Yeah, as you can see, I kind of forgot about this area, and I was focused on getting all this shit done up here, as you can see. And then afterwards, I started walling off the rest of this area over here. And I ended up walling all the way up to, like, this house, all the way down here, and then I started building, like, a shit ton of towers up in this area. And then I don't know why that villager thought I was going to either run up there. But yeah, the villagers are stupid, I don't know why. Yeah, as you can see, the next group that fell was light blues. I don't know what happened to Zion, which was Sar Constant. I don't know what happened to him exactly, and I don't know why he died. Yeah, then they kept attacking the side of the wall, which was annoying, honestly, but yeah, Byzantine walls are pretty strong, if I remember. They're very, very strong. But yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, as you can see, we started building, like, he started building houses, towers, and all that. And then I started building towers. Basically, once we got rid of this tower, it was pretty much very easy. And then Zach started getting, like, an army ready and started destroying some of their buildings. Yeah, this part was just hell. And then afterwards, as you can see, I sent my villagers up here. They were building in this area. Yeah, as you can see, they just kept attacking. Finally, I started getting an army ready, and I started literally destroying, like, killing their villagers, running, killing their villagers, retreating, killing their villagers, retreating. And then eventually, after a while, they basically, they ended up resigning afterwards. And see, Zach down here, we ended up getting the wall. They had to basically... What's great about this, and there's light blue resigning, as you can see. Once light blue resigned, that's when I decided to put a wall from here to this tree line to this lake, and then around Yellow's base, so that way, because afterwards, I made a wall that goes over to Zach's base, so that way he can go to my place to get extra resources. After light blue, that's pretty much when everything was turning around. Still, though, and then right here, my wall got destroyed, which that's when green started just sending literally everything they had, which was bad. Yeah, this tower got destroyed, which was good. And then, yeah, eventually we started winning, as you can see. We started being able to make an army. Gray was annoying. However, I kept draining them of supplies, as you can see. At this point, I started sending my villagers over to this area, so that way I could start capturing their like, getting some farms and all that. Once we killed Cyan, it was pretty much easy. It was very easy, as you can see. They kept sending people, as you can see, and then afterwards I ended up building a couple of walls. And as you can see, Zach ended up putting a bunch of walls to reinforce some of the or the houses would reinforce some of the walls to make sure that it wouldn't get destroyed, which was good. Yeah, basically this is when the wall got sort of there. So we basically trapped yellow, which was good. And then I figured out there was an opening in this area that the enemies were using to get through. Excuse me. My throat hurts right now. And then yellow finally gave up. So once yellow gave up, I started destroying the wall, but then I ended up I made the wall go from this lake all the way to these trees to this tree, and then up to, and then afterwards, like, up to, like, here. And then Gray kind of stopped attacking from this section down here, and they started only attacking from the north. And then when Zack started attacking Gray, that's when they started moving down here. Yeah, we only had green and gray left. They were easy. So the mines were over here, as you can see. And they were very annoying, because they're very aggressive. The mines are one of the most aggressive civs in this game. Yeah, this is when Zack started destroying all their buildings. I was doing the same with light blue, which is good. And then I destroyed part of my wall, so that way you can get in really easily. And then eventually destroying these buildings was kind of bad. And then I figured out something that they kept getting in through somewhere, and I figured out there was a way that they were getting in through the trees, and I'm like, oh. Well, later on, when you get over to this point, I started walling this area off, because the only way we were going to win was walling and turtling. And I figured out they can get through these buildings up here, which was great. But yeah, as you can see, that's exactly what was going on. Yeah, I was building over there, as I was running out of resources, and yeah. It was great. And then I started making an army of scout cavalry to start attacking. And then I started building my walls, you can see, up to this point. And then, yeah, I figured out this villager didn't do her work, so I was about to kill her, but nope, she did her work. And at this point, I went out here and built a tower out to this, so we can destroy that tower. And then they gave up. As soon as you can see, as soon as I built that tower, they gave up. They're like, oh, yeah, we're not doing this. So then the last person was Gray, and Gray took fucking forever to kill. As you can see, his place was really great. And yeah. He was under attack by... He kept getting attacked over here. And then he ended up... And afterwards I noticed he started sending people over in this area. Eventually I noticed he was starting to, like, move out here, and I'm pretty certain if we didn't... Yeah, and then over here, as you can see, he's mining for gold. And Zack was over here mining for wood, but then he decided to move over here because he was worried. Because people kept attacking him. As you can see. But they keep spawning men-at-arms, which doesn't really work too well. And then my villagers started dying over here, which was great. Yeah, that's exactly what was going on. And then we started just destroying their buildings and all that. And as you can see, this is what Zack was looking at for the lock. He was looking over here, and then he started destroying all these buildings and killing off all these guys. And then for me, I was over here just trying to get this fucking wall done, this pesky-ass wall. Which was very fun, honestly, to get this wall done. And then I started using barracks to kind of wall off areas. So as you can see, I had a lot of wood because of the wood up here, all those villagers. Zack, though, on the other hand, had a lot of food, which was good. Like, see, look at the food that he's getting now. It's all because of his farmers, though, which is great, because remember, his farmers don't need to drop off, so they're basically just giving him infinite food, which is good. Which, maybe it's lucky that Zack ended up getting the Chimera, because he ended up picking full random, which just gives you a random pick. It doesn't choose which ones you picked before. So it's probably very lucky that he ended up getting Chimera because of that farmer bonus where they don't need to drop off food to the mills or town centers. So he could just keep doing it. And then, as you can see, he started building a wall in this general area. As you can see, I keep getting attacked. I destroyed that wall, which was a bad thing because they started coming in, but then it actually kind of helped afterwards. Because then I kept building more and more towers, and then I ended up putting these villagers into this tower, if I remember correctly. Once I go back there. One of the towers I just put in all the villagers in, so that way these towers would fall. And then I figured out quickly that they're getting through the walls, and I got really pissed off about it. And I made Zach laugh at it, which was hilarious. And as you can see, his trade cards kept getting attacked, which, yeah. As you can see, it was very, very fun, in my opinion. It was very, very fun to play this, in my opinion. As you can see, we had destroyed all those buildings, and then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I noticed the enemies were starting to do the same thing. They were just starting to build any kind of buildings to wall off us, to, like, stop the impending siege. Which, yeah, it worked, I guess. And then I noticed this is when the attacks started tapering off. Like, this is when the attacks just started tapering off. They just stopped. Like, they were stopping at least. Because then I quickly found out that Gray started running out of resources. Yeah, Zach ended up getting basically his army pretty much ready at this point. Really all you need, I think, is like food, or you need like food and gold to make men at arms, and food and wood to make skirmishers. Which, yeah, yeah, that was basically how we did it. It was very, very easy. And how long have I been streaming for? Only 32 minutes or something like that. But yeah, as you can see, it was just very, very easy afterwards. Then Zach started destroying all this. As soon as we got out here, we started building more and more towers. But then Zach figured out that that if you can get underneath the towers, they can't fire you because there's no murder holes. So we basically ran straight at the towers with men-at-arms and all that. But yeah, this is when I got angry about the wall, about them going through walls, which was bad. And then, as you can see, I found out quickly that they kept getting through, so I ended up building extra walls to make sure they can't get through. And at this point, I had most of my town going straight for my, I had most of my villagers in my town going straight to over here to put in. And then, as you can see, I put the villagers in there so they could start destroying all the buildings. At this point, I built a gate because I was going to attack from this area, which was nice. At the same time, Zach started running into their place, as you can see. Zach started literally destroying everything in sight. And this was the point where we knew we were going to win, like it was going to end finally. Yeah, this is when I went in here, and then I was like, oh, what should I do? And later I ended up, and then you'll see later that I ended up building a tower in here. But then I remember we were going to end. It was going to end. As you can see, basically men-at-arms aren't good against town centers, so the only way we can really make them resign is killing their villagers, which is exactly what we did. There's a couple of villagers here that we saw, and literally once they knew they were screwed, like, see, their villagers got out of their town center, and that's when we started attacking everything. We started attacking their towers first, because if we didn't destroy their towers, it would have been pretty much the end. There we go, that's when they gave up, as you can see, and then we won. Yeah, and as you can see, that's basically how we won the game. For that, and yeah, it was very fun. It was hard, but Zach was like, this was actually very fun. It was very hard, and Zach told me he would actually do this again, which, if we did it again, we would probably do it on, like, Black Forest or something, because this map is very, very close. But this was my first time playing Inner Circle, and I gotta say, this map is really fun. Next time, Zach did say the next time we're doing this, we are staying in Castle Age, because Castle Age would be very, very fun to try it out. But imagine playing as the Burgundians, where you get the battering ram an age earlier. Can you imagine getting it in the fucking Feudal Age? That'd be awesome. And then afterwards, you can pretty much, you can use the battering ram to destroy everything in sight, which would be nice. But yeah, that's how it happened, as you can see. And then here are the statistics of the whole thing that happened, as you can see. Zach pretty much had most of everything. And then military, as you can see, the same thing. I had the most units killed, which was good. And then food, wood, and stone, which was weird because Zach ended up collecting a lot. Trade profit for him was good. Technology, as you can see, I did get to the Feudal Age the fastest. Connor, though, got there the second fastest, but then he died. And as you can see, Society, 46 villager high, which is pretty good, 27 for Zach. Connor only had 7 because he wasn't trying hard enough. And as you can see, this is how it started. Connor just got to the Feudal Age and died, and then it was Orange, who died right afterwards, and then the next person to die was Light Blue, and then it was Yellow, and then Green, or no, yeah, it was Yellow, then Green, and then Gray, and as you can see, Zach pretty much dominated at the end point. But yeah, that's exactly how that replay went. But yeah, it was very, very fun, and we're definitely going to do that again. This time we'll do it in the Castle Age. But yeah, that is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, or this live stream, and I'll see you guys later. I don't even know why I'm saying that.